Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. So right now, we have so much snow, it's incredible. I mean, we have at least 2 feet of snow. In fact, some places where we've shoveled, it's like 3 feet. It's incredible. So here I am, I'm inside, I'm trying to stay warm, and I'm checking out some of my seedlings to see how they're growing because it's the only thing that seems to be alive right now. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to spring. So here's what I have going. I have some kale, I have some onions, I have some radishes, and yeah, so let's take a look at how the seedlings are coming along. Why don't you come on in and take a look? Okay, so in the back here you'll see I started to have some of my candy hybrid onions. They're coming up. I have been using the seedling heat mat and I wasn't too sure how well they would come out because I've been away from my house for about 4 or 5 days on a ski trip, and I came back and definitely have had some good growth on the seedlings, but there have been some that haven't germinated. So I'm going to give it another try with a few more of the onions, as you can see right here. They're super cute, but very little still. And then we have some of the kale right here, which I haven't transplanted out. It is a little bit leggy. Again, I had to turn off my heat mats while I was gone on my ski trip, so they didn't get as much heat to them. They did get light, but that did make them grow a little squiggly. So I anticipate that they'll get a little thicker as they grow out. So next to these I have some wonderful new seedlings, and over here in the back 2 rows I have cilantro, and it's just starting to get its new leaves. So every time a seedling comes up you'll see it has 2 very much similar leaves that are starter leaves, and then you'll start to see the actual true leaves come out after those first 2. And then in front of that I have some curly parsley. And this parsley also, you can see it's just barely starting to get some of its true leaves down in the center between these 2 leaves right here. But it's definitely growing very well, and like I said, I just turned the heat mat back on, and they will definitely really enjoy having the heat back under their roots to help them grow. And I'm going to just put the top back on these to keep the humidity in because it really does help with the roots. I have a couple radishes that are right here that are left in this tray that are kind of slow germinators, so they seem to be a little bit slower than the other ones that I have transplanted out already into larger containers, so I'll show you those in a second. So the most seedlings that I have got germinated so far and are the most far along are my all of my kale here, and the majority of these are the red Russian kale. You can see all of the new leaves that are coming out here. They're a little bit spiky looking, but those are the true leaves. And again, you can see the seedling leaves on either side of that, which are a little bit more like a heart shape. And then the pointy ones are the true leaves that are coming out on top. So we have quite a few of those, and those are looking quite well. I do have a little bit of a heat mat going on under those, but they're just coming along very well, and I'm quite pleased. So good growth on those. So over here I have a mixture of different things. In the back I have some radishes that I have planted out, and you can see how much larger they are now that I've potted them up into the next size pot. But throughout this I have some of the red kale, and then in front of that I have the dwarf blue curly leaf kale. And so you can see that's a nice mixture. Over here I have another radish and then some more radishes in the back. And you can see my, I have a geranium over here in this back corner. And this geranium seems to be leafing out quite well. It was really dormant when I first started it, but now it has gotten a lot of good structure to it. And so I may be able to even propagate a few more geraniums from those before springtime hits, which will be great. Okay, so this is a great example of reusing some of my nursery trays. I buy an awful lot of plants from Lowe's and from other places that when you buy an entire flat, you get the whole container that comes with each one of the individual pots, and they fit in there very nicely. So I have upped all of the radishes that were quite large into these containers, and they'll stay there for quite some time. I may have to split them out again one more time, but right now they should be good at least for a couple more weeks, and I'll be keeping my eye on them as they grow. I've never grown radishes indoors, but I'm quite happy with the way that they're growing so far. The majority of them are quite perky and have very good stems, and so I'm looking forward to seeing how these turn out. Again, I have a heat mat that goes underneath all of these. It's just the perfect size for them. And then above them, I'm growing with 2 of the lights, so those go for each one of the rows that I have, and that seems to be working out quite well. I think that the heat mat and the lights are on a timer, and the way that that works is to provide about 10 to 12 hours per day of light and heat. And the heat is not significant under these because the way Proven Winners actually makes their tray is pretty darn smart. They provide a little bit of room at the bottom. You can see the bottom is raised up, so it actually provides some air, and that way when you water, they actually don't sit in water either. It drains out quite well. And so the heat is actually quite far away from that, but it helps to keep it warm because this is in the lower level of my house. And again, that means that it's probably in the low 60s during the day, and overnight probably only about 60, maybe 59 or 58 degrees, because it's definitely cooler down here than it is on our first floor. So I'm planning to do some more seed planting, and I want to tell you that just because you don't have maybe the money to afford some of the plant trays or the domes or the fancy pieces, there are ways that you can do it on the cheap. One of my favorite ways to do it is using an egg carton. Egg cartons are biodegradable, so you can plant really easily into each one of these. You can simply cut them after they grow into them and plant them straight into the ground, and the roots will grow right into the soil. So that's a nice way to do it. Also, if you have any containers from takeout, they provide wonderful clear plastic trays sometimes. You can use the styrofoam containers to help protect your surfaces when you put a pot over them. So there's just a number of different ways that you can do it. You've seen me pot up things in the winter sowing through the use of half-gallon or even gallon milk jugs, and anything really can be used. So don't think that you're limited just by having to spend money to buy expensive or fancy things that are designed specifically for gardening. Anything will do if it works. Well, I appreciate you joining me today. I hope you learned a little bit about gardening indoors and some of the ways you can do it on the cheap. But if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and even hit that notification bell. That'll make sure that you get notified when the next video comes out. Thanks again for joining me today, and enjoy your own indoor suburban oasis. Bye!